Hello. The date is Thursday, April 21st, 2022. Um, I'm going to take a risk. I mean, right now this is just on my camera. It's not a risk, but because of technology these days, any video I've taken, I've had to put on YouTube to even get it in email format and have it, available. Hardware on your camera is things you lose these days per technology of the past 20 years. And I would work on another version of technology that's not posting things on YouTube, but I've had nothing available as such, and therefore that is how I've availed myself of having a camera and being in the modern world in 2022. But YouTube does mean identifying with a concept of communications, however you define the medium. And technology is an open sieve of unanswered questions still, because some part of technology just meant working with the ideas and growth of science and communications especially, and has almost in hindsight some potential principled thought on society and man to apply to what technology became and where it could go. And we still exist with basic laws, and that makes things intelligible per the law. And in that sense, there's a way to explain it very simply. People have cameras. It's part of freedom of expression. The right to take pictures and videos is just part of the freedom of expression. And where it is a crime or concerning is only an obvious demarcation that's not about the camera and the video, but about other concepts like breaking and entering. You breaking and entering and you took a video. Maybe the video is criminal, but the crime is breaking and entering. Per being in the world with a camera or smartphones that have cameras, you're bound by the problem of freedom of expression. People just have the right to have their cameras and to take a picture or a video. Working out some space of understanding, like, I really rather you not take pictures, is social and then bound by the law. In some sense, you don't have the right to ask that of someone because it could mean using your authority against their right to exist. So you took the risk of asking them and they just don't answer you. You're bound by the law. You have to specifically leave them alone so that you're not infringing on their freedom. Then, with technology's development, specifically the internet, which goes hand in hand with having cameras so available on smartphones, creates a societal culture topic, but the law is still as absolutely distinctive as there's freedom of expression. You have the right to have cameras. Then we consider society as it exists and what can be trends and the growth of man. So the internet and the development of communications through the internet, social media, most captured in one of the most famous developments of the internet, which was Facebook and that fad, has offered ways for a person, just in availing himself of the modern world, to publish. Publishing is complicated because publishing does carry with it caveats that are lawful. Those caveats in a past without technology just meant you show your work to a publisher, they're bound by their law department. Everything goes through legal. When it's published, it's the editor and the publisher that are accountable. But you as an author or you as an artist only have to show your work to the publisher. After that, it means going with the flow of their expertise and their access to resources and bureaucracy. Having a legal department is a big deal. think it can be said simply, if there is YouTube out there and there is Facebook, those are just private, non-published mediums, even with the fact that there are an idea of publishing because of the access people have to what's on those mediums. With Facebook, it said most simply, there's a CEO. The CEO, in some measure of having a product or a corporation, is always completely and totally accountable as the bottom line. He's taken the time to make his corporation work as such. So you put something up on Facebook, it's Mark Zuckerberg who's accountable. Basically, it means he's the editor in charge. YouTube has less understanding, but there must be some CEO to YouTube. So then it would be the CEO of YouTube. In some part of the world accessible at your fingertips. And what it means to even be an educated person, like someone says, you've posted your video on YouTube, let me show you how to do it. It means a contact with freedom of expression, and that things like internet sites or internet mediums, Facebook, YouTube, Google, Yahoo, mean a modality of functioning of the principle. Freedom of expression works because we have YouTube and Facebook and Google. There's a chance that there's some legality to be worked out in the future with some public domain that's the common sense of man, where it wouldn't be someone else telling you what you have the right to do or not to do, which is anathema to freedom, but would carry with it new common sense on, well, really what the internet has brought about. But those are huge conversations. It's hard to imagine what that would be without being involved in them. Some part of that means how other people think, and something that becomes a social group endeavor of thoughtfulness. A person alone could be limited by just being alone, and that her thoughts are not representative of society or the group's possibility of thoughtfulness. So, moving forward.